Alright, welcome to another Living Free style game dev live stream. We do this twice a week, Sunday nights and Wednesday mornings right now. We work at like a Q&A. This is the fast version of this because we've done this every time so far. We work as like a Q&A, come and go as you please. If you have questions, we'll hopefully try to stumble through those together. As I said, my name's Kevin. I work in games professionally, and there's a lot of cool stuff I get to do at work. There's a lot of cool stuff I don't get to do at work. And so this is a way for me to have a chance to stumble through all of that stuff and get a chance to work with a lot of that cool stuff. It helps me better understand what other disciplines are handling at work, as well as just be able to better communicate and everything like that. And hopefully, help some of you out too. I am, in the absence of any questions, if you don't have anything for, game devs or Maya or anything like that, Q&A stuff, I'm working on my own game. And so we're stumbling through that together. Right now, as it stands, it doesn't look like we have any questions to go over tonight. And so it looks like we're going to be continuing on our items track. For being honest, I haven't totally had a whole lot of time to think about what we're doing tonight because it has been a crazy week. So let's just go ahead and make sure all of our levels and everything are good. And we'll switch over to our screen and kind of kick this thing off and see if we can't update you all as to where we are. So here we are back in Unreal. For those of you that haven't been following along as we've been rolling, let me double check our chat here. As we've been rolling, as I mentioned, we were working with the inventory system. And if we just kick off a quick little play here, you can just kind of get a lay of the land. Okay, so interesting. I must have updated it so we start with the shotgun. My guess is the reason I did that is I was testing. So one of the things that we were testing was the inventory system. So if I press I have my inventory system. I can pick things up like plasma, for example, and then that will show in here. I can't equip plasma or do anything with it yet because it doesn't actually do anything. We have our pistol and our shotgun. We can drop things, all that kind of stuff. That's great. Looks like this dude is out of ammo, which is going to mess up a little bit of our demo, but what we can do now is you'll notice I have 12 bullets and 100 spare. So now I have 88 spare. And if I drop this, one of the things we were working on last time is that when I pick that back up, it doesn't reset my bullets and ammo. So we don't want 100 when we pick this up. There we go, 5 and 88. So all of that is working. Now the other thing that we did, and this ought to be interesting. This dude's out of ammo. Hey, wait. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button, that's why. This dude's out of ammo. If we kill him, he dropped his shotgun. I have 22 rounds in this shotgun, 6 in the chamber and 16 on backup. If I pick that up, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. So there's two things here. First, let's go stop this guy before he finishes. I have no ammo. Before he uses all his ammo. Okay. So now, if I pick this up, oh, that's hilarious. All right, you'll notice the important thing is this dude is dropping. Great. Now, if I pick this up, what happens is I actually get more shotgun ammo. All right, so I'm actually able to pick up more shotgun ammo. Now, there's a couple of issues with this that we have. Right now we have 1 and 1. If I pick it up, all right. So the cool thing is our character is dropping their weapons. I also, when I get killed, should also drop my weapons if I can get this dude to shoot me. There we go. There, I dropped all of my weapons. That's cool. It looks like he even dropped the plasma. So if we run over there, I can pick up all this stuff. Now here's the problem. This is not added. We need to fix this. That's hilarious. So our test case then is when we pick up or when we drop a weapon, there's 2 bits to it. If we drop a weapon that has 0 bullets and 0 rounds in the chamber, that might be okay. But when we pick it up, we don't want it to set our limits. We want it to add to what we have already. So let's see if we can fix that here. I believe we have that as test pickup. If we take a look at our test pickup here. Alright, what's happening is when we do our overlap, that's the old way. We're getting our inventory by class, and we're adding it, and then we're going through all the stat tags, and we're removing a certain count from... Oh, interesting. Do we really want to do this? Okay. So here's what's happening. We're getting the item definition, right? Then we're going through all the stat tags on it. And let's just say one of those is ammo. Okay? Then at that point, when we... And let's say there's 20 rounds in there. What it's doing is it's getting that 20 rounds, it's removing that 20 rounds, and then if it's finding it, it's adding. That's interesting. I wouldn't expect that to get rid of our ammo. Let's try that again, and this time we'll put a breakpoint on this, because that seems suspicious to me. Alright, we'll let this thing finish shooting, run out of weapons, run out of rounds. Okay, so he's out of rounds. We're gonna kill him. Now we have 6 and 16 for a total of 22. When we walk over, what we're going to do is we're gonna get the item definition. Okay, in this case, this should be our liar inventory instance. We have our stat tags, which has 2. Okay, then 0 for the magazine, 0 for the magazine ammo, and 0 for the spare. Alright, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna go through each of these, and we're gonna remove 0 from our stat count, which is 6. Oh, wait a second. No, we're not. We're removing 6. And what we're doing is we're adding back in the tag stat count. Why is that? I don't think that's quite right. I think what we want to do here is we either need to... Why wouldn't we just add this? Why would we remove what we have already? I feel like we don't need to remove. I feel like what we need to do is, if we find the tag, if that's true, we would just add to the stat count. If it's false, we're not going to do anything. Okay, and then when we're done, we're going to destroy the actor. Alright, let's try that again. This may be an easy fix. I feel like there was a reason why, though, that we were removing the stat count. this dude run out of ammo. Okay. 6 and 16. We're just gonna let it ride. 6 and 16 still. Oh, dude. What? Okay. So now, this dude, after he goes through his first clip, okay, he had. Let's see if that's right. Hold on, we gotta do some math here to figure out if this is working right. When we first start, we have 8 and 16, so there's 8 per. So when he finishes his first round, he's got 8. We're gonna shoot twice to kill him 3 times. So now we're 5 and 16. If we pick up his shotgun, we're wait, that doesn't seem right. Oh, he must have reloaded. He must have reloaded. Okay, 11 and 24. 24 and 8 is 32. That's about right. Now he's probably got one in the chamber. 8 and 48. Alright, I don't think we're causing a problem here in the sense that that's 4 shots, 5 shots. So he's probably got 3 left in the chamber. Gives me 8 and 64. I wonder if there's a max here. Max is 4 and 80. Where's this dude in this one? 96. Okay, maybe we don't have any ammo limits set. 10 and 109. Interesting. Okay. That also let me go over our max. So that's 9 and 125, but watch what happens if I try to pick up this shotgun. Spare ammo full. Okay, so we fixed one problem. 6 and 141. Okay, our pickup items do not limit ammo by any of the attributes that are specified. So we should probably think about taking that into account. Maybe? Let's check this out. I'm gonna edit the weapon spawner. Let's see here. This is gonna be giving the weapon. And we're gonna get the component. Quick bar inventory manager existing weapon instance. Check if the activator already has the weapon. And if they do, activator has the weapon already. Get the weapon item class spare ammo and subtract off the current spare ammo. Oh, interesting. So that's what they're doing to make sure before we add to the stack count. Whew. Do we want to do that same thing? I think it's probably reasonable. Where's weapon item class coming from? It's being passed in. Item def. Does our item def have a weapon class in it? Nope. Hold on a second. It's gonna be in our class defaults. Static inventory. Okay, so we add that to the static inventory. When do we do this? Set the mesh. Based on the static inventory item definition. Interesting. What is this thing? This is a test pickup. And our test pickup, here we go, we're setting our templates here. So the ID shotgun is the item definition for the shotgun. And this it has the equipment definition. But that's a fragment. Okay. Okay. So, but we don't even need that because look, we can get magazine, spare ammo. What are they doing? What are they looking at here? Spawner. Weapon item class. I want to look at this thing for the shotgun. Weapon ID shotgun. Weapon instance. 3 members. I feel like these are supposed to be the maxes. And in order to test that, here's what I want to do. I want to print when we give the weapon let's print this. I want to know what class this is printing. When we walk over the shotgun. No, not the shotgun. Let's check out like the pistol. So we'll walk over the pistol. ID pistol C. Yeah. Okay, so that's what's setting it. Interesting. Wow. Okay. So basically, it's using these values to add to the stack. And in here, we're using stat tags to keep track. I guess that's not bad. But what we would want to do is, we're not going to remove the stat counts anymore. I do think we want to get from here similar stuff. Get default stat from item depth. Alright, let's try it. Let's try this. So can we get default stat from item depth? Ooh, looky looky. And the one we want in this case is spare ammo. We're going to take our spare ammo. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take this value, which is like 16. We're going to subtract off our current stack count. And then if that is a positive number, we will add it. So let's just say, we could do if it's greater than 0. Wait a minute. Get stack tag count Oh, but we don't know which one we're using. Shoot. No, we just have to feed the tag into here. We can do this. This will work. And if that is greater than 0, then we're going to proceed. We're also going to make sure it has the tag. Not sure why we need to find that. This should be found already because we're already finding. This seems redundant to me. But anyways, this should limit the amount of our shotgun. So if I have 8 and 16, I shoot this dude. I have 5 and 16. Oh, because he had been firing. Like, oh, punk. So it wouldn't pick it up. So I'm 7. So I'm 4, 10. What? Okay. So here's the problem. There's a max. So if we get that count, let's say I have 5 in the chamber and the enemy has 8. Eight minus 5 is 3. I believe the stack count we want to add is this subtraction here, not what the value is. Let's try that. Okay, 3, 8 and 16. 5 and 16, 8 and 16. Okay, so far I'm not getting more than I should. 8 and 16, perfect. Alright, so let's go all the way down. So 7 and 8, 8 and 16, perfect. And that dude, is that possible? Yes, because he should have had 8 left over plus the stat chamber, so now he's got 16. If I go all the way down and reload. Okay, so 5 and 8. 8 and 16, interesting. So this is his first round. This is his second round. So he should have, when he's done with this round, he should have 8 left in spare. No, something's wrong. Something's wrong. This math is not right. This is his second round. So he should have, when he's done with this round, should have 0 in his chamber. When we pick this up, let's put our breakpoint on here. Wait, what? Why wasn't this? Yeah, it's because we don't want any debug. Alright, here we go. Now we know our test case. Let's go again. Going all the way down. Alright, he's finishing off his second magazine. So we should only have 8 left in spare. Okay, so when I walk over this, oh, come on, where's my breakpoint, dude? I don't want any debug object shows up. That's the first round. Just finished the second. Alright, there we go. Okay, so when we go over this. Whew, okay, so stat tags, we have 2. We have 5 of magazine ammo and 0 spare. That's exactly what we thought. So something is happening here. And that is when we take the class stat default is 8 and we subtract off 6 because is that what I had? I have 6, yes. 8 minus 6 is 2. That's greater than 0. We're adding in the default when we switch that. Okay, so we don't want to add in the default. We want to add in stat tags 5, but we already have 6 in the chamber. So we want to add in the def minus 2. Wait, why isn't that right? That should be right. Hold on a second. We have 6 in the chamber. There are 5 in their spare ammo. We should add 2 in. So that should get us back to 8. Okay, let's just do that. So that should get us to 8. And we're gonna go through standards. And now we're on our index should be, okay, so 16, and we have 0, right? 16 minus 0 is definitely greater than 0. And then our stat tags is 0, but we're adding in that amount. Oh no, it's not what we want to do. We want to add in this minus what we have. Okay, what we want to do is take this hold on a second. No, I'm not thinking about this right. First, we're checking to see. My brain's not working tonight. Hold on a second. It's right in front of me. We only want to add in this amount that is greater than 0. So this minus this amount, if it's greater than 0. The problem is this is 16. 16 minus that is 0. 16 minus 0 is 16, which is greater than 0. And then if that's true, then we're adding in our stat tags here. In this case, it's 0, so we're not going to add anything in. Now let's just say that we were full. Okay, because our shotgun can take 16 spare. Let's just say I was full. Okay, let's just say we had 1 left, 15. So 16 minus 15 is greater than 0. And if that dude had a full magazine, we would want to add in, oh my god, why doesn't this work in my brain? What is happening? We have room. This number right here is how much we have room for. Okay. And if we have if we have 8, for example, or let's say there's this is what we currently have, right? Yes. This is how much is in the item. This is how much we have room. Oh my gosh. Alright, do I need to write this down? So this is gonna be, let's say we have 16 minus, if we have 16, that's 0. We have room for 0. Okay, but the problem is if the item itself so then we need to take this minus that, I think, minus, let me think for a second. Okay, if we do that, now let's try this the other way. Let's say that we have, let's say we only have 8. Okay, so 16 minus 8 equals 8. We have room for 8, okay? And if there is, we have 16 here, minus 8 would work. But what if we had 0 there? If we had 0, 0 minus 8 is negative 8. This is staring me right in the face, and I'm just not, my brain is not doing math right now. This is how much we have room for. Okay. This is how much we have room for. If that's greater than 0, we should add up to how much we have room for. And how much we have room for is some number. Okay? That number if this is less than this number, if we have room for 5 and there's only 3, that works. Because if it's greater, we're going to add all 3. We have room for 5. And there's 3 in the chamber. We're going to add them all. If we have room for 8, and there's 3 in the chamber, we want to add them all. If we have room for 5, and there's 8 here, we can only add 5. So the min value that we can have is 0. The max value we can have is this. The value that we're going to feed in is that, and this is what we're going to add. We're going to clamp. If we clamp it, I don't even think we need to do this if test. But let's see here. So let's just try this. Okay, let's try the test we were doing before. We have 16 in our spare ammo. We go to pick up a weapon that has 8 spare ammo. Alright? So 16 minus 16 is 0. We technically wouldn't even do this, but let's just say we did. Okay, the item that we found has 8. The value we're putting in is 8. Our max is 0 in this case, so we would add nothing. Let's flip it. We have 8 in our spare. We find a weapon that has 16. Okay. 16 minus 8 is 8. That is greater than 0. Alright. 16 minus 8 is 8. So our max is 8. And we're picking up a weapon with 16. So that's going to work. It's only going to add 8. I believe we don't even need. Because what's going to happen is this should always clamp. So he empties his whole round. Actually, we don't even need him to. We can just see. Okay, so I have 5 and 16. Now I have 6 and 16. I guess he didn't have full rounds. I have 3 and 16. Now I have 5 and 16. Let's wait till he finishes his reload. Ah, 6 and 16. Okay. Oh, because he didn't finish reloading. Great job. Wait till he finishes reloading. Perfect. Okay. So now let's go for a few rounds. Do our reload. Now once he finishes reloading, he'll have 8 in the chamber. And 8 in spare. And that gave us 8 and 16. 8 and 16. All the way down to 0. So we have 0 spare, 8 in the rounds, and 8 in the chamber. Now, okay, that dude was down to 4. Let's kill this dude right away and take all of his spare. So 5 and 8, 8 and 60. Can I back up over the shot? Hold on a second. We're gonna let them go all the way down to nothing. Perfect. So this dude should have 16 spare. We're down to 2. 6 and 16. Alright, that works. Excellent. Fine. Okay, so this is now taking into account the actual allowed spare ammo for the weapon, which is good. There's a few other things that we need to fix about this, so that players don't take advantage of our mistakes. So right here we're 8 and 16. If I go to pick this up, let's just see what happens. That'll break one. Still 8 and 16. It's interesting that it does consume that. The thing that's a bummer about that is if I want to troll you, I can go try to pick up all the weapons. That's interesting. I think probably what might be cooler is if we made them smarter. So it would only pick up the amount that you needed. We can do that. Let's do that. That way I can't continually troll you. So if there were like 2 shotguns here, I wouldn't be able to pick up both of them and you wouldn't get any. So what we're going to do is with this test pickup, in here, overlap, we add the item definition. Here we're destroying the actor. What we really want to do is this value that we're picking up, we want to reduce our stat tags by. So let's see here. So let's say that we could pick, let's say there's 8 here and we could pick up 5. We would want to subtract off that number. So if we stat tag value set map of gameplay tag structures to integers. Hold on a second. Get. Nope, that's not what we want. How do we reset this? I guess was the question. Our GA drop is doing this. We should be able to find it in there. Drop. GA drop web. What this does is it goes through, it spawns an actor, and it makes a map. And okay. So set them. Oh, interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is set tags. Find these values. Here we go. Values. Wait, can we set these values? This just gets the values. And that's a for loop on each of the values. What we're going to do is the key in this case is this, and the value that we're going to set I don't need this here. The value we're going to set is going to be equal to, okay, so whatever we clamp this by is going to be this value minus subtract 8, and this is going to also be clamped. Let's just say that this is going to be min of 0. Okay. So that's going to basically, this should set the tag for those. And then what we're going to do is when we get down here, rather than just destroying what we can do is we can get this, and then for the value, no, values for each and each of these. Wait a second. Here we go. We're going to loop through and we're going to see if it's greater than 0. And if it is, we are going to skip out a touch. And then if it, okay, so if it is, we're going to get the next free slot. Add item slot, set active slot. Hold up a second. Okay, so that's true if that's the case. Okay. And if it doesn't, if we get through all of these and none of them are 0, then we'll destroy the actor. Alright, so let's test this. It's gonna be wild if this works on the first try because I'm barely thinking of this. Alright, so what we'll do to test this is first off, I have full weapon. Yeah, that didn't work. I mean, that clearly did not work. So let's debug it. Not here. Here. All right, do this. Go again. All right. So we're going to come in here, it's valid, it comes up here. Our stat tags right now. How are our stat tags nothing? That doesn't seem right, does it? And it's adding the weapon repeatedly. Bro, I'm 12 years old and I just got low poly models. I learned English. Can it become better? Of course you can. Hermanios. And our GD script, low poly models. I learned English. Can it become better? Of course, man. You already did become better. You learned, low poly models in GD script. What is it? It depends on what your goals are. So what time zone are you in if you're 12 years old? What is GD script used for? I know it's like Python. It uses the G dot. This is for the G dot game engine. I guess I've never used the G dot game engine. I guess what I don't understand is why when we go to pick this. Oh, I know why. Our stat tags does not default to anything. That's the problem. When we set the mesh, we don't actually do... We set the mesh, but we don't set any of our stat tags. And we really should do that at the same time. So, the same way that we get... Interesting. From the item def. Oh, that's the item def fragment. Skeleton mesh. Item def fragment. So from here, okay, here's the problem. We need to set our stat tags because for this will work for a picked up item. And let's see if we can prove that out. So what we need to do is we need to get this dude for. Okay. Wait. Where's his gun go? Okay. So 4 and 16. Nope. I was wrong. It didn't work. What in tarnation is going on in here? Alright. Wait, we have a debug. No debug object selected. Let's go. Let's go kill this dude. Pick this up. Wait, why didn't it break? Okay. So our stat tags are, we have 2. We have 0 in the ammo and 16 spare. Okay. So with the 16 spare, so what should happen? We should add our stat counts. That's fine. We're gonna do that. All right. Oh wait. It just kicked out. That's because on the false we don't do anything? What? No, that doesn't make any sense. This should totally come down here no matter what when this for loop is completed. Okay. So we finished our sequence. Okay, so here's our values. Magazine ammo 0. Oh, I see what happened. I think. False, we should come here as well. Okay, try that again. Play. Stop doing that. Okay, so we come in here, we're going to do our 2 steps. Finish the loop. Okay, we should have 2 steps. What? I don't understand. Oh, key 0. This is why. Because we need to set. Okay, hold on a second. What happens is we're constantly overwriting our base key here. This is what's happening. What we really need to be doing is we need to be taking, you know what, we're going to create a new key map. This is going to be leftover stat tags. And actually, rather than doing it like that, we're going to make this even easier. Let's delete this, duplicate this, rename this. Okay, and what we want to do is for our leftover stat tags, we're going to set. What can we add? we can add. So what? No. Add. Okay, and what we're going to add is we're going to add this tag and this value. Alright? And we're going to feed this in here. And delete this and this. Okay? We don't even need to make this map. That should just be cool. Getting our clamp values. So theoretically our leftover stat tags should have something. Alright, and then what we're going to do is we're going to loop through each of our leftover stat tags. Alright, and if the value is greater than 0, we're going to skip to the next free slot. And basically not destroy that weapon. And if not, we're going to destroy it. So let's try this again. Okay, so now we step on this. We're going to come through here. We're adding that to leftover stat tags. Do that twice. Now on our leftover stat tags, we have 2. But the values are definitely wrong. And as a result of that, we're going to do... Wait a minute, what value is greater than 0? None of these values are greater than 0. So false is going to break out and that's not greater than 0. What? Alright, here we go again. We'll get this eventually. Alright, we'll waste this dude. Stop shooting all the way. Okay, walk over this. Frame by frame this. Alright, stat tags. We have got 2. We have 0 in the magazine and 16 spare. Alright? When we go through this, we're checking to see what we have. What we have is for this particular okay, so we do have it, and the amount that we're adding is 0 because there was 0 in the magazine, and then the leftover stat tags we're adding a value of, we'll come back and we should be able to see that now. Okay, so now this time, this is true, and the value, what? It's 16. Ah. Okay, so 16. The max in this case is 0. So this is going to return 0. Okay, that's the problem. We need to not be subtracting off. We need to be subtracting off this minus the max with the... No, wait, that was right. That was totally right. We should have gone there and added in 16. Let's do that again. Same test. Alright, first time through, we're adding the value of 2. How do you figure 2? 8. I shot 2, that's why. He finished his reload. So I'm able to add 2. So there should be 6 left in the magazine now. This is the part that doesn't work. So we have 8. Wait a minute. just said 2 stat tags. My stat tags for this one is 2. Oh, 8. But what do I have in my chamber? This is saying that I have 8 currently. Alright, so that's 0. So, hold on a second. If that's the case, 0, 8. 8 minus 0 should be 8. Oh, that's why. It's not a min that we want. It's we want the value greater than 0 here, not... I think it's floor, is that what we want? Floor? Or clamp? Clamp? The value comes in, and the max is going to be equal to... We could do this. This short. It's weird, but it'll work. Okay. Alright, so let's let him finish off his first chamber test. No way. I'll buy it for a second, dude. Here we go again. Time to debug. Alright, pick this up. Come through here. We're adding in... What? Stat tags. Okay, 0 in the chamber 2. Okay, so that's fine. So the first time through it's 0. That's fine. Second time through, we have 16. Okay, so we're adding the stat tag 16. Okay, so we added it to our leftover stat tag. And then we're going to come through here. Our leftover stat tags, we have 2, 0 and 16. Okay, if either of these is greater than 0, we're going to get the next free slot. I think we need a break in here. I think that's going to happen. It's going to come back in. Yeah, it doesn't actually break up. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, so basically what we want to do is, there's a couple ways we can handle this, right? If any of our leftover stat tags have a value greater than 0, we can set a variable that says no destroy. Rumglass asks, how does a beginner get into game development? I mean, there's a couple different ways. So a lot of it just kind of depends on where you are in your overall journey. Obviously, one is you can go to school for it. That's one way to do it. Depending on if you've already gone to school, or for example, if you've already gone to school and you got a degree in software engineering, maybe you were doing database and stuff like that. You would just have to kind of tailor your knowledge towards that. So anyways, you can go to school for game development. That's one way. You can take your already earned degree and tailor that to game development. That's another way. And then another way, one of the ways that I see embedded software. Okay. I think probably, and this applies to method 3 as well as the second way, is literally find a way to show you know game dev software. right? So if you've mainly been working on embedded software, you already know software engineering. So if you sit down and do like what I'm doing here right now, where you just start sitting down and building games and learning the speak, learning the how to walk the walk type thing, probably primarily focused on what you think might interest you in game dev. But again, it depends. Are you interested in software engineering for game development, or are you interested in the art side? And depending on which one that is, you kind of focus on whatever that is. But some of the most successful interviewees I've seen, a lot of them have non-game dev experience background. They went and built their own game, or they helped out with an indie game, or any of those number of things, and that they use that as their stepping stone. You just need a stepping stone. You already have the background. You can problem solve, you can write code. You just need a stepping stone. That's all you're looking for. Okay, so there's two ways we can do this. We can set a variable, and based on that variable we can choose to destroy the actor, or we can set a break. I think for ease, I'm gonna set a variable, and we're gonna call this is, or has leftover. Let's go has leftover. No, let's use is leftover. All right, and the default value on that we're gonna set to false. Okay, which it defaults to false. And if that's greater than 0, we're going to set this to true. Pretty simple, right? Nothing crazy. All right, and then once we've completed, we're going to continue about our business as we were before, but this time we're going to do a test. So is there leftover? And if that's true, we are not going to destroy our actor. And if it's false, we are going to destroy our actor. I'm on the fence about this whole item entry slot thing. We're going to think about this, see what happens and how this plays out. But I'm curious how the backend code ties in. Oh, dude. Okay, so Rumglass is asking about how the backend code ties into animations and movement. There's a lot of ways this happens. So, for example, let me show you here in Unreal, since I have it up. Basically, in Unreal, there's a lot of things that happen in Blueprint. Okay, if we go to, actually I'm looking for an Anim Blueprint. Here we go. This is our Anim Blueprint. Let me find a good one. Here's our base Anim Blueprint. Okay, did that open? All right, and the way that this base Anim Blueprint works is this is basic. If you're not in game, this is the Anim Graph, right? It's basically a visual diagram of how the animation gets kind of added in. I have not actually looked at this one yet, so this could take me a while to kind of sift through. But basically, the way this goes is a lot of all these animations kind of get stored, right? And so this is the locomotion state machine. And if I go into this locomotion state machine, this is everything that happens to kind of decide what the character is going to do. And in this particular case, when we enter, we're going to go straight to idle. And in that case, then depending on what these little, these are our transition rules. And basically it's like, do we have acceleration? Is the gameplay target melee, or do we have velocity? If so, we're going to go to start, right? That's kind of how this graph is set up. Now in the idle though, there's a full body idle state that plays, and this is a link to anim layer. And in here, it doesn't look like we have. I'd have to find it. Let me go back. I'm looking for one. But basically, as an example, all of these things can be, yikes, what did I do? I hate it when that happens. All of these can be variabilized. And you can actually write visual editors that allow you to choose which animations play. There are also things that can happen, like for example, when I go, here's a great example. When I go to press shift in here, or space, no, shift, what is it? Control? There it is, shift forward. You see how I lunge forward? That lunge forward can be controlled by a curve that's defined by the artist or the designer as to how far forward the character is going to go. Somebody has to write all of that curve, right? All that logic, because that might not be standard in the way this particular engine works. And so a software engineer is going to work with an animator and a designer to come up with how that curve is interpreted, and then give the animation and design control so that maybe the distance that I travel is based on my class, or it's based on my level, or all those kinds of things. That may not be default available. Almost everything that is done, all of these blueprints and everything can all get kind of baked down into actual code that's done, depending on the requirements for the project. So there's a lot of stuff where you're writing code, working directly with designers and artists to kind of set up the back end. And the back end in this case is what drives the animation in game. Hopefully that helps. All right, so back to our test pickup. We were gonna test this out now. So what we wanna do is we wanna shoot this dude before he uses all of our ammo. And what we're testing here is when we walk over this, yes, look at that. So it filled us up, but it did not get rid of that weapon. And the reason it didn't get rid of that weapon is because it has more to give. So let's see here, 8, 16. Let's see how much. Oh, you know what the problem is? I know what the problem is. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna strike. Okay, here's the problem. So what happens is when I walk over this thing, it's checking that. Let's see here. We have our leftover stats. Okay, but what we're not doing is we're not resetting the stats. So what's happening is our leftover stats are always going to be the same, and so it's constantly updating. So let's see here. Basically what we want to do is if there's leftover, okay, we don't want to just keep going. We also want to reset our values for this character, for this spawned actor. So let's see if we can squeeze that in here nicely. So let's just set these dudes. We're gonna set our stat tag to our leftover stats. All right, and let's see if we can count this down. Okay, we should be able to count this pretty easy. All right, so that's 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots. When he goes to reload, he should have a total of 8 in the chamber and 8 in the spare. Let's kill him. Okay, so I think he probably got 2 or 3 shots off. You'll notice I have 2 in the chamber and 16 spare. If I walk over this weapon, I now have 6 and 16. Okay, it is kind of working. It's kind of working. What's happening is I can't, there's no more for me to pick up. Oh, actually it did. Let me pick up a few more in the chamber. Let's see here. It's not letting me pick up any more in the chamber. All right, that's sort of interesting. Now, if we reload, can we pick up the other 8? We did. We picked up the other 8. It's still letting me pick up the other 8. We need to put some breakpoints in here and figure out what the heck is happening. When we walk over this, So when we walk over this, we're going to see our current stat tags is 2. We have 0 with 8 spare. Our leftover stat tags. What is our leftover stat tag? 0 with 8 spare. Okay. Okay, so we have 8 left over. When we walk over this, we should get. All right, so we know we have the 8 spare. Okay, what's happening is it looks like our spare is not counting down. Okay, so. All right, so basically what's happening? Yeah, this is very cool. Like all of this visual scripting node stuff from class is awesome. Okay, so we're adding a stat tag to the stat count. In this case, the number for us 0. How do you figure 0? The default for the definition is. Oh, this is because this is the ammo in the magazine. Okay, that's fine. So then the second time through, we should be adding 8. Yes, we're adding 8 to our stat count. Okay. And so that should renew us. And then we should take the 8, subtract off 0. What? Hold on a second. 8. We're not subtracting off the right amount here. The max should be 8. The min should be 0. Hold on a second. Our stat tags are, we have 2 of them. In this case, our spare ammo is 8. And we're adding in 8. Wait, how do you figure we're adding 0? We're not adding 0. This is saying I already have 16. That doesn't seem right. I only have 8, but look, I have 3 shotguns. It can be. So Rumglass is asking if this event graph concept is a typical way to represent logic in a video game. It can be. So this visual scripting basically is an artist-friendly way to allow artists to help contribute to the code. And in the case of Unreal, all of this visual scripting at build time gets baked down into C++ code. And then that's what actually gets run. So this is a really cool way to allow technical artists and technical people who aren't necessarily C++ programmers to kind of contribute to gameplay logic and workflow. It's a big part of Unreal Engine. Unity did not have as much of this, but I believe they added that, or somebody added that as a plugin. But this whole visual scripting thing can be very cool. Now, what is happening here is we have 3 shotguns. So I think what's happening is our numbers are all thrown off because of this shotgun. So here's the deal. When we're adding this item, I don't think we want to do this if we already have one. All right? And so I think we need to be smarter about whether or not we're adding an item to our slot. And I think we need to check to see if we have the item before we add it. Technically, yes, you could. So in fact, all right, so Rumglass is asking, so you could just write the C++ without having to use this interface. By the way, Rumglass, the reason I keep repeating your questions is there are also non-Twitch people who are following or people who are just listening, so it helps for them to know. So the answer to your question, so you could write this in C++ without having to use the interface, is true. Okay, and in fact, a lot of these classes, like these weapons, or like basically these are all kind of blueprint classes, and a whole bunch of them are actually written in C++, and then they expose variables for artists to use. Now, you choose as the C++ programmer which variables and things are exposed or not, and technically you could do this all in C++ if you wanted to. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to go through. This is our quick bar. Let's get, oh no. For a quick bar, let's get all get slots. All right, what we want to do is, before we just blindly add this stuff, okay? We're not even gonna check for the next free slot. We're gonna check to see if we can add the weapon first. Okay, so we're going to loop through all of our slots. So for each slot, what we're going to do is we are going to get, wait, this is a inventory item instance. What I want to know is I want to know if this is equal to what we're going to be adding. And in this case, item is here. What's this do? If this is equal, then we do not want to continue. We do not want to add that. So this is our branch. True. If these two are equal, we do not need to add. If they're not equal, we'll kick out. And then when we're going to complete, we'll come in. So what we'll do is we'll do the same thing we've done before, where we've set variables. So in this, we're going to go is new weapon, and it's going to start out as false. Let's save this just for kicks. And no, let's start it out as true. No, actually, Realm Glass is cool. That's what we're here for. You know, to just kind of answer questions and stuff like that. So, since we used embedded to allow testers to contribute to the code. Yeah, I haven't looked at how this stuff gets baked down, but I'm from what I understand, it can be pretty dang efficient, because it kind of has to be. Performance is pretty important, obviously, in game dev. I think there are certain things that, so there's an entire, and you know what, we'll have to do this in some upcoming videos. We're not to this. So basically what we're doing in Realm Glass is, I hang out here, I answer questions about game dev. If I know them, if I don't, we stumble through them together. In the absence of questions, I'm basically working on my game. And as I'm working through the game, we're going to get to different parts. At some point in the future, once we have our playable level ready to go, there is going to be the question of performance. Because inevitably what's going to happen is we're going to log in, we're going to start playing, and it is going to chug. And so there is an entire profiler that helps you track down where you're losing time. And we'll be able to dig into some of the blueprints and visually see where we're losing time from a performance standpoint. And there may be certain things where the visual scripting isn't fast enough and we have to convert it to C++, or we need to change the way our visual scripts are working because we've been lazy about infinite for loops or whatever. So let's see here. Is this a new weapon? We're going to set this. So if they are equal, we're going to set this to false. All right. And then in here, we are only going to do this if it's a new weapon. Right? So basically what this is going to do is it's going to get our current quick bar slots. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna have to do two things in here, all right? But for now, this is going to work. Because it always works, right? First time. Anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna loop through our slots and we're going to see if we already have a shotgun, in this case. And if the shotgun is in our slots, then we're gonna set our new weapon to false. And the only reason we're going to add it is if the new weapon is true. So theoretically, as you saw before, we ended up with 3 shotguns. We should no longer do that now. So we're gonna wait till this dude gets to the end of his chamber. Okay, so now we have 6 and 16. If I walk over this, okay, now we have 8 and 16. That weapon, let's shoot off some of our rounds. 8 and 8. 8 and 16. Maybe I believe it. Let's see. Eight and 16. There's something still off here, people. I don't know what it is yet, but let's find out. Okay, so we're gonna come in here. Our current stat tags to 8 and 8. Alright, we're coming through here. We're adding this to the leftover stat tags. This is all the same. We finished adding this to the leftover stat tags. Our leftover stat tags 8 and 8. Is that right? In this case, that's true. Okay, so that's true. But if we shoot off all of our rounds, we're trying to make it so players don't actually cheat the system and keep just spawning their own weapons. Okay. I just meant maintaining ability since some better parts need to be updated for a long time, but wow, that profile sounds neat. Yeah, so you're not wrong about that, Rum Glass, either. So generally speaking, in my experience, much in the same way as there's good coding practice, right? Everybody has their agreed upon formatting and what code reviews and things like that look like. We also generally use best practices for visual scripting as well. And that includes variable naming, formatting, even simple rules like always leave blueprints cleaner than when you found them or better than when you found them. All the normal coding standard stuff, we do the same kind of thing, but in a visual way. So yeah, maintainability is important. So this time we're coming through here. Our stat tags should be 8 and 8, okay? But when we're done, our leftovers should be 0. What? Hold on a second. We're adding 0. Why are we adding 0? 8 and 8. Oh, because the reason we're adding 0 is because we have 8 in the chamber. So that is true still. Okay, I'm buying. I buy that. All right, now the second time through, we should have our 16. Okay, is that, wait, what? Stat tags, 8 and 8. 16, okay, so 16 minus the 8 is 8. 8, and we're adding 8. And then we should take that, and we're doing, ooh, I don't agree with that. So we're adding 8. Our stat tags, we have 8. We're adding 8. We have 8. 8 minus 8. Wait, why is it clamping an integer value? The max value is 16. No. I swear this said 16 a second ago. Oh shoot. We're getting rid of everything. We are way over time tonight. That's okay. Okay, we have zero. We have zero of everything right now. Alright, when we come in here. Alright, currently 16. What stat is it getting? Stat tags of 2. Magazine ammo and spare ammo. Gets default stat from item depth. The default stat from the item depth is 16. Okay. 16 and 8. 0. So this should kick out 8, which it does. 8. Max of 8. Value 0. Wow. I don't know why that default is 16. Here our default is 8. This is gonna be our magazine size. And this should be 8 minus 8, which would be 0. So we're gonna add that back in. So our leftover stat should be 0. The only thing that's weird is our magazine ammo. And the reason is our magazine ammo for the shotgun. Oh goodness, that's why. But these should be the same. 8 and 8. We should not be that far off. But what's gonna happen is this is not gonna destroy it again. Because alright, stat tags 2. We have 8 magazine ammo and 0 spare. For each one of the keys, in this case, magazine ammo, spare ammo. Magazine should be first. And our default value for, look at this, why is this getting a default value from a weapon item class of 16 for magazine ammo? I don't buy that. Okay, so I'm not buying this. Alright, so we need to do something a little more interesting. So let's print string this. Okay, and get a debug string from the gameplay tag. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're going to print what's gonna be useful here. We're gonna append and we're gonna append default. And we're gonna add a pin to this. This is a little messy and probably gonna be hard to follow, but that's okay. Because I just want to see what it's printing. Alright, if we play this. Alright. And I go down to 8 and 8. And we start this. Okay. Our spare ammo default is 16. It's backwards. You guys see that? It was backwards, man. Where was that? magazine ammo default of 8. Spare ammo default 16. Okay, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. How long are we gonna leave this up for? Let's leave this up 10 seconds so we can read it a little easier. Okay, so each time through we're gonna print what our magazine and spare info defaults are. And then each time through, let's print the leftovers. Yikes. Interesting. Hold on. If we found the stat tag, we're going to add it. Otherwise, I don't like this fault. If we don't find the stat tag, I don't think we should do anything. Let's print the string. Okay, and what we're going to print is we're going to print this string from gameplay tag. We're going to append, and we're going to add a couple pins to this. We're going to say leftover, and then we're going to go like this, and we're going to give it the tag, and then the amount that we're setting it to, and we're going to print that. Alright, so hopefully this will be able to help us visualize this a little bit. Alright, so if I kill this, alright, we probably got 3 shots. Okay, so I forgot to change the print time on that. Let's go to, we're gonna make both of these 20, just so we have time to read them. Okay, let's go again. Same thing. Okay, so we have 2, 0 in spare, and 8 in the chamber. Okay, so what that did is, the first time through, our magazine ammo default is 8. Our magazine ammo is 5 that they had left over. Our spare ammo is 16, and the spare ammo of 0 is what we have. That doesn't make any sense. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh, why am I having such a hard time thinking about this? I know for certain that this shotgun is 8 and 16. When I walk over it, this is the second time that this thing reloads. Alright, I don't know if it finished reloading or not. I'm at 8 and 8. When I walk over this gun, I go 8 and 16. So the Lyra shooter game weapon default is 8. Spare ammo default is 16. The leftover in this case in the magazine was 0. And the leftover in spare ammo was 8. because it's in spare. This whole idea of spare versus regular. See, it only gave me 8 spare. But it's also not letting me pick up anymore. So our I'm guessing that if we look at this now, when we walk over this, our stat tags, we have 2, but they're both at 0. Okay, so the stat tags, okay, so there's kind of a problem here. And the problem is we're separating the idea of spare versus magazine ammo. And I don't think we should. I don't think we should. And the reason I don't think we should is because when it just makes it complicated. Well, we could, it just makes it complicated for us to figure out if when we pick, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Like when we go to decide whether or not we should pick this more ammo up, do we add it to the magazine or do we add it to the spare? What if the magazine's already full? Well, we should add it to the spare, but we're just comparing the straight stat tags. So I think what we should do is when we drop our weapon, we go through and set all of our stat tags. Let's try something. Let's just do this. Let's set our spare to be that and our magazine to be 0. So what's gonna happen is when I kill this dude, that dude got off maybe 2 shots in the second round. We should have had 8 in spare and another 6 in the magazine. So if we debug this just to make sure we're running the numbers. Okay, when we come in here, our stat tags, we have 2. We have 6 in the magazine. I mean, that is true. We have 6 in the magazine, but I thought we specifically changed this to be 0 for the magazine. On the drop. How in the heck is that 6? We're making a map. We're doing it right here. Oh, that's if we drop the weapon. Not if we die. Okay, there's another place this is happening that we need to control. And that is in the shooter mannequin when they die. Holy cow, who knew this was gonna be? I was worried we weren't gonna have anything to do tonight. Shooter mannequin. What we need to do is, this is drop inventory items. When we go through here, magazine ammo. See, we're doing this in 2 places. I don't like this. This means we have the same code in 2 different places, effectively run glass. As an example, this is bad technique. We should probably put this in a single place so it's run by both. But in this case, this will work. A lot of everything I'm doing right now is based on kind of the mentality of prototype. So he's getting through his first rounds. So he should have 7 in the magazine and 8 in spare. Alright, and what we're going to do, we're going to hit this debug point, and hopefully it just shows us 15 total. No debug. We'll walk over this. Okay, so when we walk over this, we've got 2 tags. 1 is 0 and 1 is 15. Rep, So that totally worked. Okay, so now what's gonna happen is it's going to go through, it's gonna do our printing, and I have 8 and 15. I can add 8 more, so there should be 7 left over when we're done with this. 0's not gonna do anything. When we get down to the leftovers, our leftover tags, 14. Why is that 14? That's not right. There's a better way to test this. Let's do this. Eight and 8. I just dropped that shotgun. If I pick it up, 8 and 16. Oh my god, I broke everything. Trying to fix this, I broke everything. We've actually gone backwards. Alright, let's rethink this. Take a step back and rethink it. We can get rid of our prints so we can follow our logic and think about this for a second. Okay, let's trust the system and assume that it's going to report back valid value. Alright, we're going to, the weapon we pick up, we're going to go through its stat tags. Okay. And as we loop through, we're going to check to see for each of the keys and stat tags. Oh, this is going to get us the value. But we already know that that's true. We don't need this. Alright, so for each one, we're going to get the value of, we're going to get the number of items. So in the case of magazine ammo, it's going to be 0. Okay? So when 0 comes out, the end value is 0, the min value is 0, and the max for the magazine is 8. So with that return value, we're going to add that to the stat count. In this case, 0. That's fine. Okay. Then we're going to take 0, and we're going to subtract 0, which is 0. And we're going to set our leftover stat tag to be 0. Alright, the spare ammo. Then for the actual ammo, we're going to come in here. We're going to get our value of 16. We're going to get our spare ammo. We're going to get our value. Let's just say we have 8 in the spare. When we drop this thing, so there's 8 more here. The value that we're feeding is 8. Our max is 16. That should return 8. Right? So we're gonna get 8. We're gonna add that to our stack tag. We're gonna add that to our amount. So we should get 8 more. Then once we've gotten 8 more, we're gonna take that 8 and subtract it off from what was there. So that's going to be 0. So then our stat tag should be 0. Leftover should be 0. We're going to finish our for loop. Our leftover stack tags, we're going to go through all of the values. Oh, I'm an idiot. Look, we're feeding. Oh my goodness. Alright. I'm a genius, I meant. Okay, so what was happening was I was feeding the array index in here. If this value was greater than 0, then we had leftovers. But I was just using the index, so there was always leftovers. So my mistake, running in circles for no reason. So in this case, there should be no leftovers. So if there's leftovers, we're going to do this. There isn't, so we should destroy the actor, and it should do its thing. So let's test to see if we fix that, at least. And we should be able to simplify this, because if we do this, we know exactly 8 and 8 is in that shotgun on the ground. This shotgun up. We have 8 and 16. In this case, I'm gonna go all the way to 0. No I'm not. I'm gonna go down to 8. Now when I pick this dude up, I get the 16, but it didn't destroy. Why didn't that destroy? It's not picking up more, but it should have destroyed. Let's run that test again. So that's 8 in that chamber. Pick up this shotgun. Resume this. Resume this. 8 and 16. And there should be 8 in the magazine there. Let's set our breakpoints. I want to see where this thing goes. Let's fire off 9 rounds. Okay, and then we gotta pick this up. Come in here. Our stat tags are 0 and 8. Perfect. We're going to go through. We're going to add nothing to our 1 and 8 to our spare ammo is what I'm guessing. And then our leftover tags we have that's a problem. Our leftover tags are not reducing. Why is that? That's because when we came in here 0 and 8. 8 is the 0. 8 is the value, the min is 0, and the max is that value, which in this case is this gets me back to wondering whether our default stat for the item depth is right. Because when we come in here, 16 minus the 8 should be 8. Our current stack value is 8. We're going to take our return value and add that in. Then we're going to take the 8 and we're going to subtract off that value, which should be 8. So this should become 0, 0, 0. Alright, let's watch it happen. This is not rocket surgery, man. This is basic. Forward moves. Will not be this challenging. Dropping that gun. Picking up the shotgun. Nothing. Now, when I walk over this dude, alright, we're gonna come in here. Our stat tags are right. Okay? We have 2 items. Magazine of 0, spare of 8. That's cool. Okay? When we get this, okay, 8 is our default. This should be for the magazine. Alright? And This is 0. So value is 0. Max should be 8. We have 8. That's why. We have 8 in the chamber. We're subtracting off 8, which gives us a 0. So we're not adding anything to the max. Alright? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put into our leftover stats 0. Stats 0. That is correct. This time we come through. Okay, our default should be 16. It is. That's our max. Our current stat count is 0. 16 minus 0 is 16. So the max we can do is 16. Our current stat count should be 8. So that's going to return 8. So we're going to add 8 to our spare. Okay, and then we're going to subtract off this is our problem. I said we currently have 16's our max. We currently have 0. So we're allowed to add 16. We're allowed to add 16. This is 8. 8. 8 minus 8. Oh, actually that is correct. Because 8 minus 8 is 0. Because we're taking all of the spare. But we are adding 8 to our stack count. Okay, so this is okay. This is okay. So we're adding 8 to our stack count. Okay, so if we step through this, we should be adding 0 to this. So when we get to our leftover items, we should have 2 things, both zeros. They are both zeros. So then we're going to go through this for loop. And there's the array element. Interesting. But it looked like it destroyed the actor that time. So it's 8 and 8. Actually, that looks like it worked. We should get 16 spare, and the weapon should get destroyed. We got 16 spare, but the weapon did not get destroyed. That is the troubling part. That's the part I don't understand. When we walk over this, what's our current stats? 16. We got the 16 spare. Oh gosh, we gotta rerun that test again. Stop. Going on here? It's right in front of me. I never did see it. Alright, that's 8. Resume. I'm not gonna play this game. Alright. So now let's knock this back down to the point where we have just enough room for 16 to go into the chamber. Alright, sorry, no spare. Okay, reset our debug so we know we're gonna hit it. Okay, so this time when we come in, we should have 16, we do. First time through, we should be adding 0. We are. Okay, second time through, our max is 16. Our current value is 0. So our max is 16. We have 16. The value is 16, our min is 0, our max is 0, our return should be 16, it is. We're gonna add 16 to our stack count. Then we're gonna take 16, we're gonna subtract 16, that should be 0. So 16 is our value. Our min is 0 and our max, wait, what? This is the part that I don't understand. It's like, oh, because it's already evaluated, that's why. No, something's happening here. It's like 16 minus 0. But we know that's not 0 because I added 16 here. It's like it's evaluating. Okay, you know what? Let's variabilize this. I am tired of this game. And maybe this feels like it's a runtime thing. So let's make an integer. This is gonna be a leftover stat. And it's gonna be an integer. Okay. We'll default it to 0, of course. And let's just set it here. So it's going to get set before we go into adding the stat tag. Oops. And it's going to get set to the difference. Right? And then rather than using this, because I'm concerned about the evaluation order. This is our leftover stat amount. It's going to be our clamped amount minus this. I feel like this should just feed straight in. I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Because we don't want it to go negative. Because that would do weird things. And our max. Let's just make our max. Let's make our max like 10,000. That one change alone might just fix this whole thing. Okay. Drop a gun. Pick up a new gun. Resume. 8 and 16 looks good. And then up. Should be adding 8. Yep. Let's go through this. Here's our leftovers. Our leftovers are now 0. Is leftovers false? So if it's false, we're going to destroy the actor. Bingo. Which we did. We have 8 and 8. Now let's do this again. Drop it. That should have 16. Let's go pick up another shotgun. Resume. Resume, please. Okay. Now this time, we have 16. If I walk over it, it does nothing. I have room for 8 now, because I fired off 8 rounds. If I walk over this, I hit my breakpoint. When we hit our leftover stats, we still have 8 left over. And we should not destroy that weapon, and I have my 16. It looks like we found it. Holy smokes. Over this, I should have 8 and that thing should get destroyed. It did not get destroyed. Why did it get destroyed? I have 8. It should have stopped on the debug. Why didn't I stop on the debug? Because our item stat counts are 0 and 0. And is leftover is true. How did is leftover get set to true? How is that? How is 0 greater than 0 ever? You know what? I have a dumb idea. I have a dumb idea. I feel like these things might need to be initialized. So we'll set these to false when we start this event. And then we'll set our new weapon to true. Just to make sure. Same test. Alright, there's 16 rounds in that gun on the ground. This should just pick up for me. Okay. Now, if I pick this thing up, I should pick up 8 to spare, and the weapon should be still there. I just did. 8 to spare and the weapon's still there. Now, I'll fire off 8 more. There should only be 8 rounds left. When I walk over this, it should destroy itself. It did, okay. Oh my goodness. So what you're telling me is the first time, okay, so here's what was happening. Let me explain this for why this is happening, why this happened. And oh my goodness, it took me forever to wrap my head around it. Okay, so what was happening was this. This weapon drop gets spawned. When it gets spawned, okay, get rid of some of these breakpoints. All right, what happens is the construction script. This does all the visual stuff, okay? Then, you know, if there's a begin play, there's a begin play, etc. The other thing that will happen is when it first spawns is leftover defaults to false and is new weapon defaults to true. Then what happens is, let's say there's 16 rounds on in the weapon. I'm able to pick up 8. I walk over it the first time. The first time I walk over it, I go through here. It does all of our logic. As part of our logic, what happens is it comes back and there's still 8 rounds left in the gun. It comes through this loop and it says one of the values is still greater than 0. I'm gonna set is leftover to true. All right. Then I'm going to come back down here, and if is leftover is true, I'm setting my leftover stat tags, and I'm not going to destroy the weapon. And then if it's new, I'll equip it. But the actor, that drop item, has not died yet. It hasn't been destroyed. So the next time the character comes in and walks over that item, is leftover is set to true already. All right, it goes through all this logic, finds that our leftover stats, sets them all to 0 the way it's supposed to. Then it comes down in this loop, it goes through our leftover tags, and it says, is it greater than 0? No. Is it greater than 0 again? No. Is leftover still true? Yes, because we never set it back to 0. So, because this actor was not being destroyed, as part of this on event begin overlap, we need to initialize our variables. And that's why it was falsely staying around afterwards. It took us way too long to get there, probably because it's way too late. We should not be doing this late, but we figured it out. Okay. So, I believe that also fixes our initial problem, which was the idea of another player wanting to troll. In other words, if For example, I was playing with my brother. He'd run over all these shotguns and pick them up. And as a result of picking them up, they would disappear. Now here's the problem. Those weapons just disappeared, right? It's just great. So maybe we haven't fixed the original issue. I have 8 and 16. Okay, so we fixed half the issue. The half issue is if my brother walks over this weapon, okay, it will not pick up whatever's left. All right. If I reload this, 8 and 13, 8 and 16, okay? Eventually I can get it to go. There's a little bit of a feel bad here we can talk about, but basically this is working from the standpoint that my brother's not going to be able to steal all the shotgun rounds from me if he's already full. And then once I'm full, I get the 13. However, we have a different problem. That is, for some reason, these actual pickup items are registering as I'm able to pick them up, even though I'm already full. So let's see if we can fix this. Alright, when we walk over that, what? It didn't even hit my breakpoint? Oh, because I didn't set one. Good job. Alright, let's do that again. Alright, so when we come in here, what is our stat tag? We have none. We don't have any stat tag. Reason we don't have any stat tags is we haven't set any stat tags. And that's because this wasn't a dropped weapon. So this was not ever set. When we look at this, we have static inventory for this weapon. We have 2 members, ID shotgun. Interesting. So the problem is our stat tags is instance editable and exposed on spawn, so we should be able to set these. Stat tags, here we go. Okay, so what we want to do here is let's set this. If we do spare ammo of let's do magazine ammo. Okay, and value of 8, and then we add a spare ammo of 16. This should set us to our defaults. Now, if we go over here, what? Oh, it's because I didn't set it on that one. I set it on this one. Yeah, can't pick that one up. Okay, that's... I have an idea. It's crazy. So here's my concern. The idea of having to remember every time we lay this down that we need to set this to 8 and 16 is kind of a bummer. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that when we construct this actor, if these values aren't set, we set it to the defaults. So how might we do that? Well, what we can do here is in this construction script, we can get stat tags. And let's get the length. All right, and if the length of this is less than or equal to 0, what we can do is then we get our default item def stuff. Item def. Get default stat event graph. We're getting default stat from item dev. That comes off our static inventory. Break the inventory. Alright, let's do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to break our inventory. And we're going to get the default stat from item dev. And the one we're looking for is magazine ammo. And we're also going to do spare ammo. Spare ammo. Okay, we'll do both these. And we're going to set our stat tags. Nope, that's not what I want. I want our event graph. We're going to add stat tags. We're going to take our stat tags. We're going to add. And what we're going to add is we're going to add make a little gameplay tag. This is going to be our magazine ammo. I'm going to feed that into here too. I'm going to set this to this. We're going to add that. Okay, and we're going to do this one more time. And leave this for it. Rather than our magazine ammo, we're going to set this to our spare ammo. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with our stat tags again. Throw this in here. We need a connection in here. It's going to come off this dude. Connect it here. Make this pretty so it's readable by the next person who comes along. And we're going to add again. And what we're adding for this value here. Okay, so theoretically, on construction, if there are no stat tags, it should give it the default. My only concern now, this is the part we have to test. Okay, yeah, I can't pick it up. So that did work. That part worked. Here's my question. Shoot off one of these rounds. Mate, right? My concern now is the construction overriding what's been written by pickup? So there's 16 rounds in that shotgun on the ground. If I walk over it, I picked up 8 of them. That's good. I get 8 more. Does it destroy? It did. It worked. And I still can't pick this one up. I wonder if I drop this gun and I pick this one up now. 8 and 16. Oh, but it's not destroying itself. Okay, that's a problem. That's interesting. Eight and 16. It's 0 though. I'll bet you it's 0 and it's just not destroying itself. And that's not what I want. I want test pickup, no debug, and walk over this. Oh, because it's... wait. What is this? It's a test pickup. Oh. Breakpoint here. Alright. Let's try this again. There we go. Alright, so when we walk over this, your stat tags are 0 and 16. This time we should have 0 and 8. Feels like it might be doing that math wrong. Let's see what our leftovers are when we're done. Zero and 0. It did destroy that time. Okay, so here's the so this I think is kind of a little bit about what I was saying about the feel bad. So technically right now I have full ammunition to shoot 4 rounds, and I walk over the shotgun. It picked up 4, but the problem is, did it actually subtract those off of the total? If I fire off 4 rounds again when I walk over this dude, the current stat tags. Oh, it did. It took 4 off the magazine ammos. So that worked. So that's gonna give me back to my 8. But now here's the problem. I'm not gonna be able to, I won't be able to do any more of this. If I try to pick up 4 now, this isn't gonna work, because what's going to happen is, I'm gonna come in here, stat tags for this now are, I have 0 in the magazine and 16 in spare. But it's not gonna know how to put the spare ammo in my magazine. So in order to pick it up, I would have to reload. I don't know if that's cool or not. So as an example, if I do a reload, now I have room for the extra 4 bullets when I walk over this. I should end up with my 16, I do. Okay, and if I walk over this again, when I take a look at my stat tags, I'm down to 12. So this is totally working. We can get rid of this Anim blueprint though. We don't need this. This is totally working. That's not what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at. We can get rid of this breakpoint. All right, this is definitely working. I don't know if that's super intuitive for a player, right? There's a shotgun there. And this is where I feel like it might be worthwhile to make it a little bit smarter. There's a shotgun there. I'm a player. I have 4 rounds that are not loaded in my chamber. I go to walk over this shotgun and it doesn't actually pick up anything. But the time before it did. And the reason that worked was because it actually had rounds in the magazine. And so I think it's a little unintuitive as how one time it does do it and the next time it doesn't, I have to reload first. Let's try something. We can maybe make this a little clearer. In our construction, rather than using magazine ammo and adding, what we'll do is we'll add that as 0, and we'll take our magazine ammo and we'll add it to this. And what will happen is now our spare ammo will be a default of the magazine plus the spare. And in this case, when I go to walk over this shotgun, I was not expecting that to work. Hold on. Why did that work? There's no way that I don't, what? My goodness, man. this thing. Our stats should have 2. Wait, 8 and 16. What? That's not what it's supposed to be. E-test pickup. Instruction script. Magazine ammo's here. Writing a value of 0. Oh, I know why. Because I set stat tags. Jeez Louise, man. I'm just trying to make this difficult. 24. Oh, look at this. It's sending it to 24. That's interesting. So if that's 0 and 24, how's it getting 8 and 16? What the world is going on? I mean, there we go. 0.24. Huh. That's wild. It didn't pick it up that time. Wait, that one did? Oh. Okay, hold on. I think there's something super funky going on here. Is this thing not getting recompiled? Yeah, look at this. If I trash this. Okay, it's because I set them initially. That's what was happening. If I look at, I don't have any, I don't think I have any others of these. So I can override them. It's interesting. As a designer, I guess I can override these values. Still on the fence about this overall, but I think the overall point though is at least now I don't have a weird thing where I walk over the shotgun and I don't get any ammo, then I reload, and I do. I still think that has kind of a little bit of a feel bad to it. I'm wondering. I don't know, there's part of me that just says you shouldn't update what's in the magazine without reloading. I mean, we could force a reload. I wonder if that would feel bad, forcing a reload. We could either force a reload, we could send a message. I just don't think magically appearing rounds in the magazine is cool. So, how would we do that? What would the logic look like for that? I think if we came in here and our magazine was less than our max magazine and our spare ammo was full, we would reload first. What does reload actually do? Reload. There's got to be a gameplay ability to reload. There is. Oh, each weapon has one. shotgun reload. Gameplay ability for reloading the magazine. And what does this do? That activates the ability. Add loose gameplay tags, no firing. Reload done. Plays the thing. Can we activate event? Oh wait. What tag is on here? Ability type action reload event movement. Ability type action reload. I think what we want to do is trigger a reload, I guess. Why am I hesitant? Okay. I don't know. Let's check our levels a little bit here. Keys. Alright. I guess. You know what? Let's just try. Let's just try. If we come in here and how are we gonna? We were trying to make this generic. Gets the controller, gets the component by class. We're adding an item definition to the inventory. Oh, that's bad. Is that bad? Hold on, I just saw another problem. So here's our inventory for the shotgun. If I walk over this. 24. I have 4 shotguns now. Look at that. I have 5 shotguns now. Oh, that's no bueno. Okay, so we are blindly adding this item to the inventory. We do not want to do that. We need to check to see if we already have this item before we add it to the inventory. That's not entirely true though, because for things like plasma, we do want to pick up more than one, or if we're crafting and collecting, like we're picking up, I don't know, stuff to make bullets, gunpowder, and like we want to be able to pick up more than one piece of gunpowder. So I think we only want to do this if it's not a weapon. Wow, this is getting complicated. So over here we're checking to see if we have get next free item, get slots. This works for the slots. This does not work for the overall. So I actually think we don't even need to do this. Because if we properly handle our weapons, actually Actually, let's not get rash here. Let's not just blow everything away. Let's just move this off for debug later. And I think what we need to do is with this item definition tag. Nope. 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 Tag. Component has tag. Nope. Tag. Okay, let's do this. Inventory. Because we check it in the inventory. We take a look at our inventory interface inside of our graph before we allow you to. No, it's in the tile. Our tile is. Where in the world did our tile go? This isn't our tile. This is our tile. And in our tile, when we click on it, we get the player controller. Make Lyra simple failure. True. He has equipped his weapon. How in the heck do we know he is equipped? Where does this get set? Okay, here we go. As stat tag. This is what we're looking for. And that comes off of a Lyra inventory item instance. And this is a Lyra inventory manager component. This is the as what? Interesting. Tag weapon. I want to know what this is. This is the test pickup. Print string. Does this thing think it's a weapon? 1. Does plasma think it's a weapon? 0. Okay. So we only want to do the adding. If we don't already have it. Okay, here's what we need. This is a Lyra inventory item instance, so we need a variable for this. This is going to be our item instance. Okay, and if we do this here, we're going to, not that, this is a Lyra inventory item instance object reference. Okay, we're going to set this. Okay, we're going to set this undo. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna keep this in here. This is gonna be alright, so if we do add this, this is the instance we're gonna work on. However, we may not be adding it. And the reason we're not going to add this is if this is a weapon, we need to see if we already have this in the inventory or equipped. This is the inventory manager component. Get items, get all items. Here we go. Okay. So first we're going to check to see if we already have this. Move this up here. So for all of these, we're going to get the depth. And if it's equal, if the depths are equal, that's true, and this is greater than, yeah, not question mark, this is greater than 0. So let's add an and in here. And then we're gonna do this. Okay, so if it's a weapon and we already have it, then what we're gonna say is his new weapon is true. Okay. And we're also going to set our item instance to be this item instance. Holy cow, this works on the first try. I'm blown away. Based on how the night's gone so far, what you're saying is there's a chance. Okay. So get item definition. We're going to do all that. And then when we finish, we're going to come in here and if this is true, we're going to add this. If not, we're just going to continue on our merry way as so. Okay, and then over here, where we are doing our new weapon check, we're not going to worry about that anymore because we are going to worry about that still. And the reason we are doing that, we're going to still worry about that because we walk over it and it, nope. If we walk over it, we still want to equip it. I still think we want to do that. And we also need to say, is new weapon is going to start as false from now on. So let's compile and save that, because we've flipped this. Alright, so let's test the features. If I throw away this shotgun, can I even pick up the shotgun? I can. I picked it up, but it didn't do anything. And it destroyed it. I'm gonna pick up this one. And it didn't add it to my inventory. Okay, so let's debug this. Drop this shotgun. Let's walk over this one. What? Dropping the shotgun. And the pickup, setting it to nothing. Okay. So we come in here. We don't currently have a shotgun. Oh. Yeah. What time is it? Should I still be allowed to be working right now? No. Alright, so if it's valid, we need to get all our items. And then when we're done, we're going to come through here. We weren't even connected properly. Let's try this again. Okay, let's pick up this guy. Alright, it picked it up. Did not pick up it. We still got items. Controllers out. Yes, we're gonna get all our items. We have nothing, so we're not gonna move through anything. His new weapon is false. Wait a second. Are we just starting the default? Wait. So his new weapon is gonna start as true. If we come in through here and they are the same, we're going to set it to false. That's what we want. Okay, we just had that backwards. Got that one. Pick up this one. Nope. Okay, why not? Why are you gonna pick up? We're gonna get all the items. You don't have any items. It is a new weapon. So we're gonna, oh, the death's not defined. Genius. Sheer genius. Now this is totally gonna work. Only the 50th time. See? Told you. First try. Bullets. Interesting. So here's the other thing that's interesting. It did not destroy that weapon when I picked it up. Alright. If I drop that and I pick it up, I have a weapon with 8 bullets. That work? No, I have a weapon with 60. Okay, we're back to our original fun problems. Okay, so for whatever reason, no object. If I walk over this now, going through them all. It's not a new weapon. That's false. Then we're coming up here. Our stat. Oh, look. We somehow broke this thing. Not sure how we broke that. Let's give this another shot. I picked it up, but it destroyed it, and I didn't get any ammo. That's kinda messed up. What about this guy? I'm gonna pick this guy up. It's not a new weapon, you know that. Okay, the stat tag. Wait a second. 24 spare ammo. Okay. That didn't work. Okay. We have 8 and 8. So here's the trick. If I drop that gun, I'll pick it up, I get a full gun. If I shoot 2 rounds, I walk over that thing, nothing happens. I walk over this thing, look at the stat tags on this thing. 24. Oh, we're back to the reload problem. That's why. If I go reload, well, we got 2 problems now. We got multiple. As a new weapon, it's not giving me what I'm picking up. It is giving me reload. Resume. 16. This should pick up 16. Resume. Did. Now if I can get basically the same thing over again, the weapon should get destroyed this time. It does. Okay, so we have a couple things to fix then. Problem is, if we're 8 and 4, we gotta pick up this weapon. Right now, this thing's stat count is 24 probably. It is 24. Resume. And I have my 16. This time when I walk over it, not a new weapon. Our stat count is 12. The problem is, when I drop this, if I drop this gun in front of me, that gun should have 16 in it. When I go to pick this up, the stat count for this is how much? It is 16. Okay, that works. I pick up this shotgun. Now I fire 2 rounds. And I walk over this. Wait, if I reload. I walk over this. It's destroying it now. That should not be destroying that. hold up a second. Zero 14. How did we get here? We skipped. For some reason, we skipped this loop body. How did we skip that loop body? Hitting any of this. We definitely have two stat tags here, 0 and 16. Whoa. But for some reason, function keys. No keys here. What? Somehow that's zero. Oh, it's false. It needs to feed into here. I guess I was feeding into the wrong thing. This works and it destroys on this one. It did. Okay, so maybe a bunch of things are fixed. So if we get rid of that, and walk over this guy, it just picks it up. Fire surrounds. When I walk over this guy again, not a new button. Wait, where is that? Where are we? How do we have? Okay. Stat tag 2 0 24. Resume. 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 Okay, so the first time we picked it up, not destroy itself. That we need to look at. This time, did destroy itself. So it's just the initial pickup. But you know what? It's far too late. We've been doing this far too long. So we're going to have to wrap this up. Yeah, so what happens is the first time it picks itself up. Our stat tags, our item instance is getting set, but our stat tags, you know what? Alright, fine. Twist my arm. Figure out what's happening. This first time we pick this up. Okay. We're going to set this to none. We're going to come in here, pick this dude up. When we come in, there is none. We don't have any items. So new weapon should be true. Is new weapon is true, so we add that. We set our item instance. Okay. When we do that, our stat tags right now are 0 and 24. So we're gonna get our defaults. Eight in the magazine. Hold on a second. What's happening is the class default for this is 8. We have 8 in the magazine for 0. 0 return value, 0. Leftover stat is 0. Leftover stat is 0. And our leftover stat tags has 1 item in it, which is magazine ammo 0. Okay. And then this dude is 16. Our stat count is 16. This should also be 0. Our leftover stat, wait, what? How's our leftover 24? Stat tags, 24. This is because we're adding it all as spare ammo. 0. Our max is 0. Our value is 24. Our return is 0. 24 minus 0 is 24. That's why. When our max is 0. And our min is 0. This is in the spare ammo. So we get our spare ammo, we get 16. Our tag stat count is 16. Meaning we have 16 already. 16 minus 16 is 0. 24 minus 0 would mean we'd have 24 left over because we can't pick up anymore. But that's because we didn't decrement when we picked this up the first time and we added the item definition here. We didn't actually reduce I think if we do that, this is a new item. We should just add it. Yeah, but here's the problem. If we just add it, it uses the item definitions. What's gonna happen is it's going to add the default values no matter how much ammo is in there. Oh, interesting. So what we need to do is we need to actually, when we add the new one, we need to set this stuff based on the stat tags. We did this somewhere else. We did this. Okay, I know what we need to do. I just need to try to think clearly for a second. This is sort of a separate loop. When we're done with this loop, there is not going to be any leftovers. And we're just going to go straight in here. Alright, and what we can do is, the first time I pick up a weapon, if I walk over it, destroys it. If I do that, and then I walk over this, we get to 16. Get back to 16. One more time to destroy it. It did. Okay. If I shoot this out, 8 and 8 and drop it. When I pick up this dude, I get 8 and 16. That makes sense. If I pick up this dude, I should have 8 and 8. Instead, I get 8 and 16. So basically, we're there. We know what we need to do. The problem is this. When we pick up a new weapon on the ground as a pickup, we don't want to just get based on the item depth. We need to now take the time to set the stat counts based on the one that we picked up, not what the default item depth is. Alright, so to do that, what we can do is keys. For each key. This is a brand new weapon, so we know we can start from scratch. For each one, what we're going to do is we're going to get for each key. Okay. No, we're gonna find. Find that we want. Find item. And it's this item. And then what we're going to do. Oh no, that's not what we want. Value. Value. This is what we want. This returns the value. Okay, cool. So what we want to do is we want to there's something we can do where we set the stat count. Add stat tag. tag stack. And that's for the item instance. Remove that tag stack. We're gonna remove this. Well, we're gonna have to make a whole lot of room. And we're going to be removing this amount so that we can add in. We're just basically gonna remove these stat keys. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add it back in. Okay. And then we're going to add stat. This is going to be a pain in the butt, but we got it. All right, and the tag is this tag. Is this. Hold on a second. No. Item instance. This is what we're adding in. This is true. But what we're taking out is not coming off this. We need to remove not this amount. We need to remove the one that's actually already in the item instance. So get that tag count. And the tag count we're getting is this one. And we're going to remove that first. Then we're going to add in that one. And then when we're done with all of this, we're going to destroy this actor. Super messy. So I shoot this down. So I'm 8 and 8. Alright, I pick this guy up and I run it. I'm 0 and 24 and I load up. Okay, that's good. If I drop this shotgun, I got a pistol. Pick up this shotgun. Alright, that totally worked. Okay, so if I come back here and I walk over this shotgun now, I'm 16 and 8. Because that dude had, I believe it was 24 rounds. So now I'm 16 and 8 one more time. This time it should destroy itself. It does. 8 and 16. And I can't pick this guy up. Can't ruin it. But if I drop that and I pick this up, I'm good to go. 8, 16. If I pick this up, 16 and 2. Yep. Dude, that all works. Oh, so good. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up tonight. Okay, but before we do that, we have got to clean up this blueprint. Look at this mess we made. I don't know what this was. We're gonna get rid of that. Let's make some room down here. Up here. That's all good. We're going to go through this for loop. I'm going to pop down here. If it's false, we're going to do all this. So let's see if we can move all of this. And this is all bogus anyway, so if it's false, we're gonna drop down. Okay, these stack keys we can move down here and that'll get cleaned up. This item instance, we can also move down here and clean it up. And we can actually clean this up a lot easier than this because it's not variable. Okay, and then this dude, let's make some room. I missed this one. Okay, all of this we're gonna consider throwaway because it's not connected. This is the item instance. We can just plug straight in. We don't need all these lines. Undo. Did not mean to delete that. And this is a component by class. Okay. And then this is also an item instance. Reference. And this one can just move down here. Get in there. We're just cleaning up our code as we wrap this up. Okay, so our blueprints, not our code. Kind of like visual code. Oh, goodness gracious, what is going on here? This is going there. It's going there. Here. Also coming there. So this. Okay. Step 10. Alright, so here we're setting the item instance. And then we're doing, so we could actually technically use item instance here as well. Because we've already set it. And then we don't have to drag all of this stuff out. Right? And then this goes away. This goes away, and this is not nearly as noodly. Which is good. Okay? So that's all cleaned up. This is kind of wild because this is traveling a very long ways. We can probably leave that for now. Alright, now that that is a lot more cleaned up, we could probably comment this. But we're not going to do it tonight because it's time to call it done. I do want to test one more time while it's fresh in my mind what we've been working on. If I take the shotgun, full rounds, throw it in front of me. I don't have a shotgun. I pick it up. I should have 8 and 8. I do. If I walk over this shotgun, I should get 16. I do. If I throw this shotgun away and then walk over this one, I should get 8 and 8, because remember I grabbed the 8, I do. If I walk over this one, I'm back at 16. 16. Looks like we're good. Looks like we're clean. And everything is working. The only thing to test here is if we play this dude, he drops, should be an empty shotgun. This one's probably not gonna work. Like 6 and 16. Actually it did. Alright, so here's the thing. We probably shouldn't drop an item that has no stats. So, just for clarity, I think it would feel bad as a player to walk over something that looks like a shotgun that isn't, that's empty. Kind of a bummer. But we can fix that. Future us can fix that. For now, we're calling this a night. Get all the items. Okay. Is it a weapon and is it already equipped? That is all of this. Is it already equipped? What? Or already inventory weapon? Okay, and then this is the new weapon. It's a new weapon, And then this is all let's make some rooms for this comment. One comment, we're gonna call it a wrap. Come on, let's go. Alright, already inventory of weapon, add appropriate ammo for stack tags. Now, the interesting thing is it's not totally just weapons, so we're gonna have to run some tests on this, which I'll probably do. But, Cosmic Happiness is good. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for hopping in. What kind of game are you working on? What I'm testing right now is just to see if we can pick up more than one trial item. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so even though we did all that crazy work to figure out weapons and ammo and itemization and all that stuff, we did not break regular items when we did that, which is cool. It was a pretty long moment of silence as we were trying to figure that out. I do want to look into... So that's all worked. We cleaned our stuff up, we commented, we did way more than we were probably supposed to do. Now, what was this error? Attempted to access index 0 from array template of length 0. V-test pickup. up here. This is where we're doing this. This is bad because we may not have this. Does this happen every time we start? Interesting. I need to figure out when that's happening. Happens when I pick up plasma. A second plasma? No. A shotgun? No. Plasma after a shotgun? No. I'm not sure when that happened. Alright, as I said, we are up, or have gone way past our time. So, oh my goodness, like, I'm not even sure how to wrap this up, but basically, our characters will now drop items. And we've made it, anything that's in their inventory, we've made it so that when they drop those, the items actually keep track of their stats, and players can't take advantage of the idea of continually dropping a weapon to reload it. We also fixed it so that players can't troll each other, so that when I'm playing with my brother, he's not just picking up all the shotguns even though he's already got a shotgun. Cleaned up a bunch of our blueprints and everything like that, and I think from an inventory standpoint, things are feeling pretty good. I think we probably need to start digging into what we're going to be able to do with some of these other items, like plasma, and how we're going to use them and stuff like that. But overall, we can pick up items. I think the next big thing for us to dig into is going to be the save game. So I started taking a look at that right now. I can find no information or no like trace of save game being implemented anywhere in the Lyra or Lyra project. I'm just gonna call it Lyra, alright? I know they say Lyra, but it is what it is. So I can find no implementations of save game in that, so we're probably gonna have to go back to our old game, figure out how we did it back there, and see what we can implement. Now the interesting thing about save game is there's two ways to do that. We can do that local, or we can do that with a persistence layer. If we do that with the persistence layer, we're talking databases, and we're talking cloud storage, all kinds of fun stuff. Which we definitely want to do because it's going to be a networked game, and it's going to feel really bad if you log in and you don't have all your stuff. So that is going to be a pretty big can of worms. We'll see. I'll see if I can get some of the bigger systems set up, Perforce, all that kind of stuff between now and next time. Everybody who hopped in, Cosmic Happiness, Rumglass, you know, Hermanios, it was good to see you all. Anybody else who's hanging out in the wings, that was cool too. As always, this is all about you all's questions. If you have any questions between now and next time, please feel free to drop those in the comments. I'll try to address those first thing next time, or hop in the Q&A. Next one should be Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Hop in there and we can kind of go over your questions live as well. That all works. So once again, my name's Kevin. Thanks for hopping in, and I will catch you all on the next stream. Sweet. Night all.